The 2026 WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony took place in Paradise, Nevada at Dolby Live at Park MGM. Now, before the ceremony started, we had the Hall of Fame red carpet, which had Jackie Redmond hosting along Big E. They did interviews, and Jackie was wearing a very nice red dress, looking amazing as she always does. You had Carmelo Hayes being the first person who was interviewed, and he was with his fiance, the lovely Kalani Jordan, also who was looking great. And then when they were talking, we actually saw Roxanne Perez and her lucky boyfriend walking in. And then you had Danhausen interviewed, Javon Evans, The Miz, and Maurice was looking great in her dress. We saw her earlier on SmackDown too. And then you had Dennis Rodman interviewed, R-Truth, Damian Priest with Lola Vice, who was looking great. John Cena was on the carpet. We saw him. They had Nick Aldis and Mickie James interviewed. Then Jackie got to interview John Cena. He gave her some time. He actually told the story about Stephanie McMahon helping him out on the bus when it looked like he was going to get fired. And then she heard him freestyling, and then she gave him that gimmick. She let him use the gimmick on TV on SmackDown, and the rest is history. He really does owe his career to her, and she saved him from being fired. You also had, being interviewed was Stephanie Vaquer, looking great as you'd expect. Then you had Triple H being interviewed. We saw the Bella Twins arriving, and then we see CM Punk and AJ Lee arriving. The Bella Twins were interviewed next, and the most notable thing here is Nikki Bella is still in a walking boot. She's not going to wrestle tomorrow night. She is not wrestling on WrestleMania. She's going to be replaced in that match. She is in a walking boot. Don't expect to see her. Then you had Drew McIntyre interviewed. He was with his wife. He actually cut a response promo on Jacob, and it was actually really good. It was a response to the promo Jacob cut on him on SmackDown. And then you had CM Punk and AJ Lee being interviewed by Big E. Nice reunion for Big E and AJ Lee. I just remember that one time Big E accidentally punched her in the chest really hard. Like he swung his hand back and he hit her right in the chest, but she was okay. Then you had Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, who was looking amazing in her white dress, being interviewed next. And as they were talking, we could actually see Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley all walking in past the red carpet. And then we had the 2026 Hall of Fame induction ceremony begin. The WWE Hall of Fame begins in Las Vegas. I know I said it's official in Paradise. It's Las Vegas. Dolby Live, Park MGM. For the opening video package, it was The Undertaker narrating it. And then you had The Miz and Michael Cole do a very good job, I thought, of hosting the show. Michael Cole had to mention what was voted to be the worst match in WrestleMania history, his match against Jerry the King Lawler at WrestleMania 27. What a horrible match. You had Miz, however, putting over Cole here for all his contributions to WWE, and for all the years he's been with the company, he really put him over here. Our first inductee happened to just be the headliner, Stephanie McMahon. She was officially the headliner. I'm not sure if it was going to be Stephanie or AJ, or they just weren't going to announce an official headliner, but it was Stephanie, the headliner. And based on the time that she was given, it made sense. So she had a very well-produced video package for her to start off, and it was long, but it was really, really good. It recapped her whole history with the company. We see a 22-year-old Stephanie McMahon talking, and then all of the women put her over. Then they talk about her time when they had the invasion, and she became the head of ECW, and they played Let the Bodies Hit the Floor as she's slapping people. Then they show her outside the ring. Everyone really loves her, and it's not just, because she's married to Triple H, and for years since Vince McMahon owned the company, she was his daughter. Everyone really likes her. You can look at interviews with wrestlers that were out of WWE. Very positive things to say about her. She really gave advice, and they had almost all the top stars putting her over. All the women really put her over. Then they show her with her kids. A very well-produced video package here. And then you had Stephanie McMahon inducted by her daughters, Aurora, Murphy, and Vaughn, along with her mother, Linda McMahon. So her eldest daughter, Aurora, spoke first, and she did very well, I thought. And then the younger daughters, Murphy and then Vaughn, talked after her. So Linda talked, and by the way, Vince McMahon was not present, so he did not see his daughter inducted. Linda's speech, just her induction went on forever. And this had to be the longest induction ever because you had 4 speeches. That is crazy. It has to be. I think the only one that might be longer would have been The Rock in 2008 when he was supposed to be inducting his father and his grandfather. Instead, like he just talked and was in the Rock character the whole time. Maybe that's longer, but this probably is actually longer for the longest induction ever. It's definitely not the longest speech ever for one particular person, but this was easily the longest induction that I could recall. Maybe the only one that might be more was The Rock's. So I found it funny that Triple H would not tell them to wrap it up the same way he told Ric Flair to wrap it up in 08. But of course, that wasn't even his choice. He was told to. So we were nearly 40 minutes without Stephanie coming out into the Hall of Fame. And finally she comes out, and she looked great, I have to say, wearing a very nice dress. Stephanie always been very attractive, just a very attractive woman. And she was crying already. She talked about her family, and then she mentioned her father, and we actually got a thank you Vince chant. So after she thanked Linda and Vince, she thanked Shane McMahon and his family, and he was not there. So I've always been curious about their relationship, Shane and Stephanie, because Shane also wasn't there last year for Triple H's induction. I just found it kind of weird, like not a single member of his family was there. And he's actually appeared at some WWE events in the past year, by the way. So after that, she mentions various talents she worked with over the years. She talked about WrestleMania 3 and André the Giant. She mentions Connor's Cure, and I just had to throw this out there. I don't mean to criticize Stephanie, but she sent that tweet out. I'll never forget it. Philanthropy is the future of marketing. I never really understood that. But after that, they do a very nice video they produced during the speech for some of the kids who were battling illnesses. This was really well done. Nice moment is when she introduced someone who was a young man. He's 16 years old now. He's still a teenager, actually, but he was supposed to die when he was 2, and he's celebrating his 16th birthday. She had him stand up. He got a nice standing ovation. Very well done here. Very nice moment. She goes on to thank more wrestlers after that. She thanked the fans first, and then she thanks Nick Khan, and then finally she thanks Triple H last. As you'd expect, that's who really she would save for last, Triple H. And after that, the speech ended. It was very well. It was very PR, public relations, as you expect. That's where she would work for most of the time anyways. But it was well done. I just felt like the induction went on too long. The actual speech I thought was a good speech. If anything, I thought she could have gone on a little bit longer. She could have told more stories, talked about more wrestlers, more interactions, but maybe the induction was so long that it got cut. I'm not sure. Probably not, because it's Stephanie. But I felt like it was a nice speech she gave. And then after the speech ended, she went into the Stephanie McMahon character, and she, was doing her heel work. She said "bitch," and then eventually it ended. So I thought the actual speech was pretty good here. I actually did enjoy it. I thought it was a good speech. I just felt like the induction just went on too long. So then we went to a commercial. Michael Cole and The Miz introduced the first Legacy inductee, Bad News Brown. Very good video package showing him. He was a legitimate guy, a legitimate tough guy, and his family was actually there to see him honored in the Legacy wing of the Hall of Fame. After that, we had Michael Cole and The Miz introduce Demolition next. They got a really cool video package of them in the 80s and the look of Demolition. Everyone knows, heavily inspired by the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, but also Their look, I don't know if people realize, it actually comes directly from a famous movie in the 80s called The Road Warrior. It's the second Mad Max movie, Mad Max 2. And the villain in that movie, Humongous, their gear is exactly from that. It looks exactly like Humongous. So Demolition was inducted by Haku, Arn Anderson, and the Warlord. So they after it was kind of a brief induction, certainly compared to the previous induction, but it was brief. Eventually, Demolition was out. A long time coming. I'm really glad they're alive to accept the honor. I always thought like they were never going to go in, and when they would go in, they would have both been deceased, or at least one of them would have been deceased. I believe Axe, who's older, he would have been deceased, but no, they got to go in alive. A very nice moment here, and I really like seeing them get in. And they had my favorite speech, by the way. I really liked the Demolition speech a lot from the whole night. So Smash talked first. He mentioned Crush, who was not included with them, and Crush has passed away. But I'm glad he mentioned Crush. And then he talked about his family, gave a nice speech. Then Axe talked, and he's much older. He thanks many, including the legendary manager they had, Mr. Fuji. He thanks his fans. He thanks his family. Mentions his faith. Overall, a very good speech here. I really enjoyed it a lot, and really happy to see Demolition in the Hall of Fame. Well deserved, and it's been too long. Like really, it shouldn't have taken this long. But there were issues. The stupid concussion lawsuit they joined, and there were just different reasons why this didn't happen much sooner. But I'm glad it did, and I'm glad both of them were alive for it to happen. And happy to see Demolition officially inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame. So next you had Michael Cole and The Miz talk about celebrities. Then we got a Dennis Rodman video package. So here's the thing. I did not know ESPN was airing this as well. I just assumed it was going to stream on YouTube like it was last year. But I did not know ESPN had it as well. So I understand now why they wanted Dennis Rodman there, because they want a sports star for ESPN and their audience. That's why Dennis Rodman was inducted. So, and he's a Las Vegas native, by the way. So I guess that also makes sense. But Dennis Rodman was officially inducted by Kevin Nash and Sean Waltman, who came out to the NWO Wolfpack theme. I was like, yeah, that's cool. We never hear that theme anymore. Like, whenever anything has to do with the NWO, they always play the classic NWO theme song, the black and white. But now we got the red and white NWO, the Wolfpack. That was really cool. So Kevin unfortunately lost his voice. He struggled, and then Sean Waltman really had to finish the speech because Kevin lost his voice for some reason. And then Dennis Rodman came out. He got the classic NWO theme song, not the Wolfman or the Wolfpack theme, the old theme, which made sense for him to come out to that. And he was quite the character. He was a little emotional. I didn't realize what he was saying half the time. I'm not sure if he was taking a shot at Stephanie McMahon or he was praising her. It was confusing. He puts over pro wrestling. He thanks Jimmy Hart, Eric Bischoff, and then he shows the shirt he was wearing, which was a Hollywood Hogan shirt. He really puts him over. He got emotional over Hogan. He mentioned Nick, Hulk's son. He did his best Hulk impression, and then he ended the speech with the NWO for life. Perfect way to end it. I'll give him that. Again, I think it was more so due to ESPN why Rodman was there, and yeah, quite the character. What else to really say other than that? Then Michael Cole and The Miz, the host, talk about Hulk Hogan versus André the Giant from WrestleMania 3. Then they showed a really great video package, including the build-up for the match on Piper's Pit, which was just one of the great WWE segments ever. Just a great build-up, and then the cello, and then the slam. Everything about that match is so iconic, so memorable. They showed a Hulk Hogan interview from 2014 that they use in this video package. And then we have Hulk Hogan versus André the Giant from WrestleMania 3. This was for the WWF Championship at the time, Hogan defending his title, in which he was successful, defeating André the Giant WrestleMania 3. And then I guess they weren't inducted by anyone. They had people accept the award on their behalf because both guys are deceased. You had Jimmy Hart, Hulk Hogan's manager, longtime best friend, Nick Hogan, Hulk Hogan's son, and Robin, I'm trying to pronounce this right, Roussimof. She is Andre the Giant's daughter. So Jimmy was great. He did all the talking. It's Jimmy Hart. He does really well. He mentioned Bobby the Brain Heenan, which I loved because he was also part of that, and I'm glad he mentioned Bobby Heenan. Thank you for Jimmy Hart. And then he walked over and he actually unveiled the Immortal Moment statue of Hogan slamming Andre, which looked great, I have to say. And this wasn't the only statue. They unveiled the Hulk Hogan statue at WWE World, or I believe it was yesterday or the day before, of Hulk Hogan. And it looks great, by the way. So another statue for the Hulkster. And then after that, we went back to Michael Cole and The Miz. They introduced Sid, and they kind of say Sid Justice, Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid, and they showed the video package. He's had many different names, and I really wish Sid could have accepted it. He even mentioned it that he really wanted to be in the Hall of Fame, and he thought he could actually get in. Especially, I don't know if he had the best relationship with Vince, but I remember him posting something about that along those lines, and really should have been in, man. That's 2 WrestleMania main events he had. WrestleMania 8, WrestleMania 13. He was always pushed as a top guy. Had a great run in WCW, and I don't want to talk about the injury, the ankle injury. That's not really what I remember him as. Like, he was a really imposing, tough, big man, and it's unfortunate that he wasn't alive to accept it. I still remember being shocked in 2024 when I read the news that Sid died. I could not believe it. So, also, if you don't know, he was a great softball player, Sid was. But Sid's family were in attendance. They actually played his theme song, the Psycho Sid theme song, where it's kind of like the psycho music. But that was nice. And Sid officially in the Legacy wing. I believe he should have had a regular induction, but he is still officially in the WWE Hall of Fame. Sid Udy. So I had an issue here. So the feed went black for me. It was totally blacked out. I did not know what was happening after the Sid induction, and it was supposed to be a break, and it just goes black for like several minutes. I am confused. When it comes back, we had the AJ Styles video package playing with Creed's Higher playing. They played the exact same video package, I'm pretty sure, on Raw. When AJ officially retired in Atlanta. He set his gear down, he retired, and then they announced, The Undertaker come out and announced that AJ Styles was officially going into the WWE Hall of Fame that same year. So I came back, you have that the Creed's Higher playing, so I assume this is the exact same video package they used on Raw. And then you had the Good Brothers doing the induction. That's Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows. They were out to induct AJ Styles, their good friend, and I was surprised to see them, but kind of not, because I don't know where they work still. I know they're obviously not in AEW right now, but I guess it's not a big deal for WWE to have them. They're really close with AJ in real life, and it was kind of a short induction for AJ, that short speech they gave, but I thought it was pretty decent. I believe it was Karl Anderson called him the best wrestler. And then AJ Styles comes out wearing a blue suit, or a blue tux, I believe. The fans chanted one more match when AJ came out first, and he talks about the locker room. He gives them kind of a motivational speech, and then he went on to say that he really doesn't miss wrestling, and he talks about the reasons why. And he kind of talked about that in his initial speech that he gave, his retirement speech on Raw, that he doesn't miss wrestling too much because he gets to spend time with his family. He doesn't have to miss birthdays. He doesn't have to miss his kids' sports practices, and it means a lot for him to be a family guy and to be home, and he doesn't have to miss important events in their lives anymore. And he mentions his kids, he mentions his wife Wendy, and he really talked about his family well. He thanked all the promoters that he wrestled for, and then he goes on to to thank the people he shared the ring with, his opponents, the fellow wrestlers, and that was good. And he announced, I think this is well known now, that he's staying with WWE, and I'm not sure what his official role is. It sounds like more of a scouting kind of guy, but he's gonna stay there. And this was a very quick speech. It was easily the shortest speech I've seen for a final inductee before. I can't remember a shorter speech than AJ for someone who went on last. Even though technically Stephanie is the headliner this year, AJ was the one who had the final speech, and I think the ceremony was promoted around both of them, AJ and Stephanie. Even though she was the official headliner, AJ went on last, and definitely easily the shortest speech for someone who went on last. And then you had Michael Cole and The Miz close out the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony. You know, it's funny, when Stephanie came out, it was like an hour when she was done. So, like, already, I was thinking, all right, this is going to be the longest Hall of Fame of all time. It's going to be longer than last year's, which felt long, especially since last year, I think, started at 2 a.m. Eastern. Here it was at only 12 at midnight, but it went by really fast after that. It would turn out to be like one of the shortest Hall of Fame induction ceremonies ever. It might be the shortest Hall of Fame of all time. I'm not sure. Maybe not. I'd have to look, but it might be it has to be one of the shortest Hall of Fame ceremonies I've ever seen. It was very short, actually, because everything went by really fast after the first speech. But that's it. I thought overall it was easy to watch. It wasn't hard to watch at all. With the length, it was fine. I always enjoy the Hall of Fame every year. And that wrapped it up. So we now have the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony is now in the books. And we will see the inductees honored at WrestleMania.